Hey, how you doing, everybody? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Today I'm here again with my brother Joel. You know, we're here again. Today we're gonna do things a little bit different. I take a lot of constructive criticism, and I look to make my podcast not only something that can be listened and watched by everyone, but also something that people can enjoy. So today I'm actually not gonna use my book. First time not using the book. My brother and I know it's crazy. It's crazy. My brother and I had a very in-depth conversation last night about something, and we're going to bring it to light on today's podcast. So today's topic is we're talking about narrow-minded people, and as our last episode was about change, this episode is about narrow-minded people who are resistant to change, right? So we're gonna start this off. We're gonna get it jumping.
All right. Well, just to clarify what we were talking about last night, specifically, we were talking about how it was harder to change these boomers rather than to change people like us, like our age and like lower, even like I don't know, probably like 25 and down. But the point was that you get to an age to where like you can't really change. Like, you could take a guy out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the guy, pretty much.
Right. Now, I see what you're saying. So, like, mostly people that are older, right, they've already lived their life. They're stuck in their ways because that's what they were brought up believing. Mm-hmm. There are people that aren't going to change easily because they're like, okay, I've been doing this for 30 years. Why is it going to be any different? Mm-hmm. And even if they do somehow, change, then there's still some notion of their old ways that they just metamorphosize into something different rather than completely changing the concept or idea of something.
And it's like, I get why try to fix what's not broken, but why not try to upgrade either?
Exactly. Okay, I like that. Why not try to upgrade? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like people, like grandparents especially, I think specifically grandparents, and we've had a conversation specifically about some of our family members that have been so like
dumbed down by whatever they were learning,
and they don't believe that what we're learning now, what what younger generations are putting forward, is something that's knowledgeable, something that they can learn from, and that's just such a single-minded way of thinking that you can't ever progress that way. You're staying stuck in your own time. 1950 won't work in 2020. That's literally that's not how things work.
2020 won't work in 1950.
2020 won't work in 2022.
2020 is not even working.
2020, we're not even gonna get into that, y'all. We're not even working. Let's face it.
I don't know what this is. I'm gonna be honest. I think this year was the year for everybody to really open up their third eye and to really like expand and try different things, because we were forced to do things that we didn't have to do before.
Yup. 2024.
And that's why you're watching this video now.
That's why, it's not why I made it, because it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while now.
But it's why they're watching.
Might be, bro. Might be. Like, it's definitely a year that people, kind of, even with myself especially, you take a second to look inward, look inside yourself, and kind of figure things out. And a lot of narrow-minded people that have just been going about their regular business, they've had to turn on the news. They've had to, be confined to their own rooms, houses, whatever the case may be, and kind of take a look at themselves and the world outside of themselves.
You are forced to be alone with your thoughts, and you don't know what to do with them.
It's the scariest thing in the world, when you realize your own demons are within yourself. Back to narrow-minded people. So, narrow-minded people are so, like I said, stuck in their ways that they don't know how to branch out from it, right?
And it's like, it's not even that you're like stuck really, but yeah, you can say stuck, but it's also that you're comfortable and you like where you are, so you don't want to change it. Back to where I said why I try to fix what's not.
You know what? I'm going to touch on a bit of a touchy subject here, right? So, it's something that's come to light to me fairly recently. And I watched it on Facebook. And I know I was scrolling on Facebook. I'm too young to be scrolling on Facebook. We don't even use Facebook anymore. But I was scrolling on Facebook, right? And I saw this video about a gentleman named Daryl Davis. If you do not know who Daryl Davis is, please take the time to look him up. Very intelligent gentleman that I even after the video, I was like, this guy, really knows what he's talking about. So, Daryl Davis, for you who don't know, he was a black man who actually infiltrated the KKK. So...
Did they not make a movie about that?
They did make a movie about it, and the movie dropped in 2016, which I would love to watch, and he has a book out that I would also like to read. So the video itself was actually more so pertaining to how he wanted to talk to a KKK member about, just why do you not like black people? And it wasn't like he was attacking them. He literally wanted to sit down and have a conversation with someone. Like, you know what? I understand this is your mindset. This is what you're looking at, and this is what you believe. Why is that? And they have some people that were like, you know what? I just don't like them because, whatever the case may be, or this, that, or third. And it wasn't so much as hateful as I thought it would be. I kind of figured that, a KKK member would be like, all right, I'm going to kill this dude literally just because of the
kill these
yeah, pretty much. That's what I thought it was going to be like. But, he was able to actually sit down and speak with, someone of a different nationality than him. And they had a regular conversation. And long story short, as the relationship grew further, they started inviting each other over each other's homes, and eventually he was invited. Daryl was invited to a KKK rally. He started being invited to rallies, and eventually the gentleman whose name is Robert Kelly, a well-known KKK member, actually stepped away from the KKK. He actually talked someone out of his narrow-mindedness. And that's something that I feel like we can do. I believe that if anyone is able to have a conversation about something and they're able to open their mind to something, they can realize something not only about the outside world, but something about themselves that they never knew.
It's funny that how that's like a thing, because if you really think about it, of how many of us actually just go with what society says these days. Like, we just go with the flow. I remember seeing this little video, and it was like, there was a bunch of matches lit up, right? Or lined up, I should say. And then they lit the matches, one after the next, started to catch fire. And then the one match stepped out the way, which stopped the fire. It only takes one person to make a big change.
It only ever does, and as much as it seems like people can't make a big change by themselves, I think any one person can, as long as they have the right people following them.
As long as they got the
balls to do it. And the money. Money is a very big thing with changing people's mindsets. Yeah. I mean, with narrow-minded people, they're people typically. I can't speak for everyone. I don't know everyone. I can only speak on my personal experiences and what I've known from, narrow-minded people. They see someone with power, they see someone with money, and think that, okay, this person must be right. This person must be right, and they take their word and they just run with it.
Or it's just out of straight ignorance. It's like, I don't know wrong, so this person must be right.
Narrow-minded people are people that devout themselves in ignorance, in my personal opinion. If you're being narrow-minded on a certain topic, then that is you willingly giving up your want to know more. You're not going out of your own way to learn more about this topic, this subject, this new way of life. Now, for me personally, we grew up, living in a very Christian household, and then extremely Christian household, and then eventually moved on to, our father, teaching us about Islam, and then, eventually for me myself, I wanted to learn, more about things, so I've learned, me trying not to be narrow-minded, I wanted to learn about Judaism. I want to learn more about Islam because I didn't really understand it as much. I want to learn about Christianity because I didn't understand it as much. I want to learn about, all different facets of things because I've known, certain people or, ways of life that are just like, oh, it's just the universe. The universe is God. And that kind of brings more my philosophical thought process of, what that is, but that's a different story for a different day. My point being that if you're able to disconnect yourself from what you know, and you're able to look forward to things that, you might not think they're right. You might say, all right, this is a ridiculous notion. But if you're able to go out there and learn about it and kind of make that decision yourself after becoming knowledgeable, that is the epitome of going against ignorance. That is what people need to do. That is how we become not narrow-minded, And that's the biggest thing for people to go about change. Our last topic was about change.
Yeah.
You can't do change without being narrow-minded. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Because every time you get a new topic or a new way of looking at things, you're literally going to block it off. Whether it's knowingly or you're just doing it subconsciously. And subconsciously is the biggest problem. I can't tell you how many times, and the perfect example of this, right? Let's say, for example, you know, I have a certain way of going about things. But you're like, oh no, you should do it this way, or you can do it this way. Immediately, no matter who you're talking to, especially if it's a family member, being a sibling, if I'm saying, all right, I'm folding clothes this way, and Jewel comes up, oh no, you should do it this way. Immediately, I'm gonna think that's stupid. Why would I fold it that way? But what you should do, like I've mentioned before, displace yourself mentally. Step back from your own thought process and evaluate what's being told to you and what's being taught to you. And that way, if I can come to my own conclusion that, you know what, maybe his way actually does make sense, and I can do things more efficiently that way, then why wouldn't I do it? Why wouldn't I not upgrade? You know? As to where maybe vice versa happens, and I'm like, you know what? I personally believe, after evaluating what you have told me and knowing what I know, that, you know what, I think my way makes more sense. And this is why I believe it. Being able to have that reasoning behind what you believe, then you can say, okay, I know this is more correct than what you're saying because I have this, and this to show for it. And I think that's pretty much what philosophy is all about. You know?
Check this out. You're about to like this. I got you. So, like, as far as, you know, helping other people to be open-minded as well, you have to not just understand, but you have to make sure that you're being understanding as well. So instead of, like you were saying with folding clothes, like, instead of me walking up to you and just being like, yo, do it this way because it's better, I could say like, yo, this is how I do it, see if you like it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because it's not just like what you say, it's how you say things that matter.
Communication is key between everyone.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's a big thing that we don't do as people too much. Communication can help people who are narrow-minded not become narrow-minded as long as you say it the same way or a more sensitive way. Because let's face it, and we know it, right? People in this world are sensitive.
Yeah.
Extremely sensitive.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, people are sensitive. You know, you have to be careful with what you say. You know? So if you're able to say things a certain way to where you're not stepping on anyone's toes, making them feel, you know, diminished, making them feel like you're overpowering them or, you know, my way is better than yours, keep it even playing field as it should be between all people. Right. Because let's face it, no one is better than anyone else. We are all people at the end of the day. No matter what social status you have, we all believe the same. The same. We are all equal people. No matter, you know, how you think about it, that's what it is. So don't try to, you know, up one idea over the other before even giving the other a consideration. Right. Because that's the epitome of being narrow-minded.
Don't think about it as it is. Think about it as what it could be.
Exactly. That's a great way of putting it, if I do say so myself, good sir. Now, I mean, with that being said, being open-minded can also, you know, be tricky. Because being open-minded
can even be scary.
It can even be scary, you know, and you have so many different things coming in. You know, it's like, okay, I got this idea, I got this idea. Which one's right? How am I going to figure this out? You know,
it's really easy to be overwhelmed.
It's super easy to be overwhelmed, and I think that's one of the biggest things I had a problem with, especially when I first started, you know, once I realized what I wanted to do, and I didn't know how I was going to go about it. You know, I had all these different ideas. I had different thought process of going about, you know, how do I change the world? I look at a lot of leaders through history, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, you know what I'm saying? People like that actually, you know, trying to change the world, or, you know, I mean, Martin Luther King and Malcolm were more American, they were American civil activists, but, you know, Martin Luther King took a lot of things from Gandhi and his peaceful protests. So trying to look at, you know, what they did, it's about evaluating my past and then going off that to see, you know, how can I use that information not to determine the future or how I should go about the future, but help me evaluate a new way of going about it and trying to help people, you know? Because, I mean, clearly I don't believe the past should not repeat itself. That's why the past is there for us to learn from. But not just for us to learn from in the facet that, you know, we're going to be like, all right, this didn't work, you know, let's tweak it a little bit. Let's try something new. Let's actually say, okay, this didn't work, but why didn't it work? You know, go down, evaluate it, and be like, you know what? If we did this, this, and this, and this, we can make this new system. We can try something new. And I mean, what's the worst that happens? It doesn't work, and we try something else. That's where
patience come in. You people aren't patient.
Patience.
You're impatient with other people. You're not patient with yourself.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Ain't that something? Imagine, being so patient with someone else, but just having no patience for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't fight the overwhelmingness if you don't have patience with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to sit back and be like, okay, let me think about this.
Right? Some people, I get that it's hard because you have like ADHD and all that stuff.
And things, everyone's different.
Yeah.
We're all equal, but we also all have our differences. And that's a beautiful thing. That's one of the most beautiful things about life and about humanity is that we're all different in our own right. We're all same down to the smallest foundation of life.
Like I can say the same thing he been saying, but like in a different way to hit a different amount of people.
Different perspectives.
Yeah.
Different perspectives hit different people different ways.
Right.
So it's all just a matter of perspective at the end of the day. But like I was saying, being open-minded can get confusing and overwhelming in things, and you just have to, calm down and kind of take things one step at a time, and it's not like, you may have a lot of things going on during your day, you know what I'm saying? It's not something that you have to, sit down and take hours to think about, you know what I'm saying? It's just something that once you're in the right mindset, take a minute, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it just, I don't know about anyone else, but for me, it just hits me at random times, while I'm laying in bed by myself, just thinking, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, taking that time, not running from it, but acknowledging it and realizing, okay, this is a moment in my life where I can think about myself, think what's right to me, and learn from it. Taking your learning experiences and your learning opportunities and maximizing them is how we get better as people.
And that's when you can really think about all the times you've failed. You have to fail to really learn some things, you know what I mean? Like, you can try something and then you could win or be good at it and all that stuff, but like at the end of the day, you really have to break it down and think about it, you know what I mean?
Those are lessons, my friend.
Yeah.
Those are lessons. They're not losses, they're lessons. You have to take lessons to learn. Excuse me. You have to take lessons to learn. You can't learn just by, no one pops out the womb knowing things.
Right.
Who does that?
Right.
No one. That's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to learn it somewhere, So you take these, you say, all right, I have this idea, I have this notion, let's see how it goes. Didn't work out. All right. Why didn't it work? Don't just say, all right, it didn't work out, this must be it. Analyze why it didn't work out, because what you think might be the answer might just lead you to another loss. And then you're in a constant cycle of just continuing to try to learn the same lesson over and over again. That's not what we want. We want to learn and then go back to the same issue and be able to conquer that with a physicality. You know what I'm saying? We want to conquer it to a point where, all right, I'm never going to have this problem again. That is the epitome of progression.
You will recycle the same lesson until you learn from it.
That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And it's unfortunate to say how many lessons we've had to recycle in human history before we understand what they're going to be. And that's why I feel like, excuse me because I did, I want to keep this more philosophical, but I felt that, to kind of make eye-opener to people, I had to, dabble out into more real-world examples. And that's going to happen throughout the show. But, philosophically, that's what philosophy is all about to me. So that is, being able to take a concept, take an idea, analyze it, and evaluate it to why, it works or doesn't work, and then realize, okay, this must be why it works, this must be why it doesn't work, and not only ask questions, but ask questions to the question. You know what I'm saying? Breaking it down to its fundamental foundation of an idea to where, okay, there is no way that you can rebuttal this. This is an irrefutable fact that I have equated. And you know what? Even so you might think it's irrefutable, there's always someone out there that's going to try to, debunk that. And that's one thing that, I think also is another great thing about humanity. You know what I'm saying? We're always taking the ideas we already know and saying, okay, is this wrong? How can we make it better? And if you get to the conclusion that, you know what, this is right, this is how we should do things, great. Let's build on that. Let's continue to work our way up. Let's continue to make people not narrow-minded. Let's continue to open our minds, continue to open our ideas to different types of things, different concepts, That's the only way we get better as people.
Like,
not being narrow-minded.
Like the universe is forever expanding, increasing your opportunities in every area possible.
Ain't that something? The universe is just never silent.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think's at the edge of that?
more.
What is that like? You think it's just like a dark abyss or something, or
is it not already?
all right?
You can't create. Put it this way for you: you can't create something where there's already something there.
Fair enough.
You need nothing to make something.
This whole podcast is meant to take narrow-minded people and bring them into a philosophical mindset to open up their mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is. And I really want my next episode to be more attracted to that. I'm going to bring the book back, and I'm going to have, another guest, of course. I think the guests work very well. And I think that, I really value your opinion and, whose opinion is on the show. And I feel like, I have a whole segment set aside to actually helping people open up their philosophical mindset and open up their creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Being creative is what makes people so great, on top of everything else that I've already said. There's so many great things about people, bro. So many great things about people, and the fact that people just block that off is beyond me.
It's ridiculous.
People just like looking through a tunnel.
They don't like to think that we're all the same for some reason. We all kind of just want the same thing.
We all want the same things. Like you said in the last podcast, we all live the same life, we just don't know it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. At the end of the day, we're all like, all right. So now it's time for our Q&A section as always. I have one question.
Answer some too.
Answer some. Yeah, all right. We can both answer this question. So this is about.
That'll actually help with being open-minded and stuff too.
This is about the concept of fear. The podcast I had, I believe, 2 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the question was, we're talking about. I talked about fear from natural instincts, what you've been told versus what you've seen, things like that. So the question is, how about fear of failure? Because that's a fear that we've always kind of known.
Just talking about that.
You
shouldn't be afraid to fail.
No one should be afraid to fail. Failure is a part of life. Failure is how you get better. It's irrational. That's what it is. A fear of failure is irrational. That's an irrational fear that we only know because of what we've been told. If you are told as a child failure is not a bad thing, you won't think failure is a bad thing. You'll say, okay, this is okay. This is okay with me.
But it's also like up to you to break what people have told you, which is the issue with most people these days.
Yeah. So fear of failure, I believe, is something it's not a lack of knowledge, but it is a concept that's been put on you as you've grown up. We're afraid of getting F's because we're told that we're supposed to get good grades. We're afraid of being last on our race because we're told that you're supposed to get first place. That means you suck, you're slow, you're this, you're that. You know what I'm saying? Because with failure, there's so many bad concepts that go with it, so many bad ideals that we create a fear of failure. Fear of failure is not something that we're born with. Think about it. Babies, for example. You teach them how to walk. All right, come here, come. You make them walk across the living room, let's say. They fall. They failed. They didn't make it. They didn't make it. Is that baby mad? Nah. Guess what he does? Gets back up and starts walking again.
It's really a choice.
It's a choice. It's a choice that, we make for ourselves and that people have put upon us. No one should be afraid to fail. Never be afraid to fail. And that's me coming from someone that I would lie to you if I said I wasn't afraid of failure or some things. It's a hard thing to set aside something that's been put in your head since you were a baby.
But at the end of the day, I know I could try again if I wanted to.
Always try again, and I'll never say that I don't quit on things. I'll try it again. I might get upset, but you know what, I'm done. But I'll come back to it later. If it's something you really care about, you won't be afraid to fail. It'll only push you to want it more.
Right.
Because once you finally get it.
Right. It's like
everyone knows
that
feeling. Everyone knows that feeling.
It's like working out, you know what I'm saying? Say you're about to go for max something or whatever. Alright, you don't hit the number. Damn. Guess I'll just keep lifting and hit it next week.
So you do. Say,
at the end of the day, you're going to enjoy what you're doing.
Say, okay, now I know where I'm at.
Right.
Having a failure is learning from it, saying, alright, now I know where I'm at. Let's see what I can do to change it. Let's see what I can do to get better.
You're just creating more goals for yourself.
More goals. More goals, more life, more everything. Greatness. Well, that's it for Mix Check today. I hope you guys really enjoyed the new way I went about doing it. Please comment what you thought about it below. If you like the change in it, you like the little differences, or if you much rather have something that's a bit more, scripted and scheduled. So this is a bit more raw podcasting, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, so please let me know what you guys thought of it. If you guys have any questions about what we talked about today, or about any of my previous podcasts, please comment them below. But that's it for today's episode. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. That's greatly appreciated. Mimic out.